$4.4 million in extra cap space, Howie Roseman, Howie Vision is lethal. Dallas still stinks. You're by the way, King Dingbat here, and happy June to each and every one of you Dingbats out there. And it's a big day for the Eagles because the Eagles have created an extra $4.4 million in cap space. And with $4.4 million in cap space, Howie Roseman, Howie Vision, we're all just living in it, can be lethal. Now, before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, but more importantly, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss Eagles content, daily NFL content, all that good stuff. And if you've been subscribed for a while, just double moonwalk check. Let's just keep it simple. Double moonwalk check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Had 2 people yesterday DM me and say, hey, yo, Philly, I was unsubscribed. Thank you for making me check. You're welcome. But thank you for checking, and make sure you guys do that. Now, before we get into what I want to talk about post-June 1st and stuff, let's talk about some Eagles news that's happening right now. According to Jeff McClain, he's saying, expected move into a former role for Julian Lurie has become official. The Pound Eagles owner's son has been named Business and Football Operations Strategy, NFL sources said, confirming Atbo Wolf's story. The elder Lurie has been, and I hate this word, but grooming his 26-year-old son for some time. And I gotta be honest, you know, when I looked at the structure of the Eagles for I guess up till today, I always thought it was like Casino, right? Remember the movie Casino, right? You have Robert De Niro's character. God, why can't I think of his character right now? What the hell is that? Something on me. But Robert De Niro, his character, what was his name again? God, it's slipping my mind. I love Casino, but I can't remember. But he was the dude running Casino, right? He was the guy running the casino, but he couldn't say he was because he didn't have a license. That's what I thought Howie Roseman was. He was the real owner and the real guy running. And then they had to give Robert De Niro's character a beverage operations manager or something. And that's what they did with Howie. I thought Howie till today was running it. I thought he was the food and beverage guy, but he was really running the show. Who knew? Jeffrey Lurie really is the owner. How about that? It's crazy. But his son's going to become Business and Football Operations Strategy. I got some strategies for you. Just give me a call. We'll discuss it. But, you know, we all know in all seriousness, we all know, and I'm just joking around, but we all know that his son is eventually going to take over the team and stuff like that. So, hey, it's great experience, 26 years old. God bless the kid, you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in, you know? But, you know, here's the way I see this team right now. Because you have to have a lot of front office movement after all the people that they've lost, which they lost all these people after a great draft, which is even crazier, right? But the Eagles are not done yet. They're not done yet. I mean, they might not make a huge, big splash. You know what I mean? Jesse Bates, Chuck Clark, but you never know. And with post-June 1st kicking in, the post-June 1st cuts and all the things that have been made, as of tomorrow, the Eagles gained $4.4 million in cap space. Now, if they want to go and make a splash for a Chuck Clark or a Jesse Bates, they could do it. I mean, you saw the way they set up, A.J. Brown's contract, right? He's $5 million against the cap this year. You saw how they did Bradbury. They paid Bradbury. He's only $2.2 million against the cap. So the Eagles have room to maneuver. $4.4 million for Howie Roseman, Howie Vision. That's like $25 million for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? Because they don't know what the hell they're doing. But that's the truth. So man, he gained. I didn't realize he was going to gain $4.4 million in cap space. And shout out to Thomas R. Peterson, but here's what he wrote. The Eagles are about to save another approximately $4.4 million in cap space with the post-June 1st effects of Brooks and Cox deal per Jimmy Kempski. Enough for a move at safety. Pound Eagles. Absolutely right. You have the ammunition if you want to go and get, let's say, Jessie Bates, or you want to go get Chuck Clark. The Eagles have the ammunition. They have the money to do it. They actually do. So, although I don't expect it to happen, I don't think it's going to happen, I do think that, legitimately, if something opens up, if the potential, if the Bengals say, hey, you know what, we're going to go ahead and we're going to just try to trade Bates because we're not paying them. If they actually do something like that, who's calling me? I never seen that number ever. 319 area code. Where the hell is that? I don't know. But anyways, what was I saying? So, crap, what the hell was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, let's say Cincinnati. And see, this is why I hate when people call me. But, so let's say Jessie Bates, let's say the Bengals decided, we're going to trade Jessie Bates. We're going to get rid of him. Okay? The Eagles are going to swoop in. If the opportunity presents itself to Howie Roseman, he is going to make the move. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think, like I said, I think these are going to be smaller moves, depth moves, those kind of moves. But you never know. And with $4.4 million in cap space, the Eagles have the ability to do what they need to do to get somebody else if they so choose. And if they don't, and let's say they don't want to get a safety, I'm good with Marcus Epps. I think Marcus Epps is good enough to be the starter this year, good enough to hold the fort down, good enough to be that bridge safety. And at best, he's a legitimate starter. So I say play him. I'll be honest with you. Now, this may be a little out there. I almost worry about Anthony Harris more than I worry about Epps just because of his age and stuff. He scares me more, you know? There's going to be some interesting things happening with the Eagles this year. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when Epps is better than Harris. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when Devontae Smith has more catches and yards than A.J. Brown. But I think some things like that are going to happen. And Devontae Smith is going to go out there and he's going to have more yards and more catches, I think, than A.J. Brown. But A.J. Brown's going to take the number one corner. And it's going to open up those things for Devontae Smith. This team ain't playing, man. This team is not messing around. So, to me, I think that the $4.4 million for the Eagles is like play money for Howie Roseman. And I think that there could be another shoe to drop. There literally could be another shoe to drop. The question is how big of a possibility. So the other thing we got to talk about is who could the Eagles possibly cut now that it's post-June 1st? I mean, if they were to cut a guy like, let's say, Sayamalu, they would save like $5 million. I don't want to cut Sayamalu. I definitely do not want to cut him. But one guy that I've talked about the last few days, and people will probably like, get off of his case, but I think it's important that he's not on this roster when the year starts, is Jalen Reagor. Now, Reagor, let me see what it says here. If the Eagles would have cut him before June 1st, it was like $3.6 million to cut him. Now that it's, post June 1st, it would cost the Eagles only $1.8 million in dead cap money to cut him. So a guy like that would be a perfect candidate. Now, let's say the Eagles were to go after like Jessie Bates and they wanted to try to get him, right? I think the Eagles, with the $4.4 million, I think they're about $10 or $11 million under the cap right now. So his franchise tag is like $12 million. If the Eagles traded for him, they would have to be under that $12 million before they get him, before they could even work an extension out or something like that. So they would have to make a move to get space in order to get him on a roster and then work out a deal with him. I just think that's the way it works because he's franchise tagged. But listen, there's plenty of moves that Howie Roseman can make. There's plenty of space to be created. I really only see two guys potentially not being here or being cut or traded, and that is Reagor and then possibly Andre Dillard. Although you have to you're going to have to give me something really good to move a left tackle that could start on another team. I'm just not going to do it just to do it. You know what I mean? I can't do that. So those are the two guys that I totally could see, being cut. I don't think anybody like Fletcher Cox or, they already worked out his deal. He's staying. I don't think Sayamalu. I really don't see anybody else that I can think of off the top of my head that the Eagles would cut for salary purposes. Only way is if they make a trade for somebody and have to get under the cap. That would be the only way. But I do think the chances of Reagor being here next year is probably slim to none. So it's going to be interesting. But I do know this. $4.4 million in extra cap space for Howie Roseman is a ton of money. He has the ability to do a lot with it because we've seen what he's done with the other players, the A.J. Browns, the James Bradbury. So, listen, anything can happen. We're still a long way from the start of the season, from preseason, from training camp. There are still moves to be made. Example, Julio Jones, I believe, was cut the day after, right after June 1st. There are always players who will get traded post June 1st or cut that you'll be surprised that they wiggled free. Happens all the time. I expect it to happen again, so we got to keep our eyes out. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat, and remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. Pinky up when you drink, baby. Pinky up. It means you got class. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, I totally forgot to talk about in this video. I got totally sidetracked and I got caught in Howie Vision. But ESPN says the Eagles had the second best offseason in the NFL. To me, they're definitely top three, but I think they had the best offseason. Why? Because they didn't just build for this year. They built also for the future. Remember, they still got 2 first-round picks next year. The Eagles are going all in this year, but they're also not. It's a future. It's about the future more so than next year. You look at teams like the Chargers and stuff, they're going for it now. So, to me, yeah, the Eagles are going for it now, but it's also building something special. And I think the Eagles had the best offseason in the NFL this year. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Denzel Washington, out.